We are talking about the fetishization of trans men today.
Some of y'all are some ain't shit bitches, and people like, don't use the word. No, the people know who the bitches are.
I like porn. I like porn. I like porn. Okay, I'm just gonna put it out there.
Let me see your pussy. Yeah, it's a lot. There's not a lot of safe spaces for people of trans experience. Sending me ashy ass and dick pics. A lot of women don't want to deal with a man that is honest. Those are sexy ass fetishes,
Yes,
right?
they are.
Hell, somebody might want to piss on somebody, but that's a different topic. Whew. Please. Stop. What's this word that they like to say that I hate so much? Oh, trans attracted. Hey, how you doing? My name is Trans. Hey, you talking to their genitals, right? You're not coming up and saying, hey, how you doing? You know you're he. But as soon as we get into an argument, oh, fuck that she, and you know what I'm saying?
Stop assuming that all trans men are bottoms. Please.
I don't think that trans people are a fetish. Actually, I don't think. I know. That was confirmation.
Welcome everybody back to another episode of Don't Get Me Started, the show where rants on real life can get real rowdy or respectfully. East Coast child of glucose, Marlin. I am here with my beloved. This one right here, y'all. I don't play about this one.
That's not it.
I do not play about this one. I need y'all to know. This is my brother JT is in the building. Welcome.
What's up?
We are going to talk about this. Do I want to call it a trend? I don't really want to call it a trend, but it's something that has become more prevalent than I've ever seen it before.
It's been kind of in your face.
Yeah, it's been very, very in your face. So I want to say a little bit more so in the last probably at least I've noticed in the last 3 years.
It's been longer. I want to say about 5 to 7.
Oh, well, see,
maybe 10. Shit.
And this is why he's here, because he would know. We are talking about the fetishization of trans men today. You heard it right.
Yikes.
We're getting into the nitty-gritty today. We're going to talk about the things, and who better to tell me and inform y'all than my brother JT. So let's get into it. Before we get started, I want y'all to learn a little bit about JT and who he is. So JT, tell us a little bit about yourself. And first starting with, when did you start your transition?
Physically, I started transitioning, I want to say 2010. So it's been about 15 years now. Actually, my rebirthday will be in April.
Come on. We love that. Love that.
So yeah, physically 15 years, but socially it's been since about I want to say my teenage years, high school, so about 14-ish.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay,
so explain to them a little bit about what it means to physically transition in opposition to socially transition.
So basically, physical transition is basically having surgeries, HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy. Whether for trans women that would be estrogen and spirolactone, and for men it could be testosterone cypionate. They have the other ones, Infinite. They have androgel. Different ones.
All the things.
all the things. Hell, they got pellets now. So
pellets.
Yeah, they put it under your skin. And yeah, it's a lot.
I'm
not doing that.
Woo!
I'm not doing that because that goes in your ass and it's a lot. I ain't doing that. But yeah, so basically that's physical transition. Socially, basically going by he/him pronouns. The way I present myself, male presenting, male energy. So that's been since I was a teenager.
Okay, gotcha.
Probably longer. I mean, I knew I was different since about 4.
Okay.
But socially awareness and recognizing that was my teenage years.
Gotcha. So all you motherfuckers out here that spew all this stuff about pushing it on folks and kids don't know nothing about that, again, we are saying that we've been knowing and have been knowing forever. But we're not here for that. So I've always wanted to have this conversation with my brother because I like porn. I like porn. I like porn. Okay? I'm just going to put it out there. I do.
I mean, don't.
Okay, well, there's some people that don't. There's some people that don't. But I do. And I noticed an uptick in porn involving trans men. I want to say, like I was just telling him before we came on, about 2 to 3 years ago, it started popping up more and more for me, which made me take notice, and then I started to kind of like pay more attention to it and how people were reacting to it socially. Because when it comes down to pornography and stuff like that, if it's anything outside of regular vanilla shit that you see on your day-to-day, it's usually something that's kind of niche, and when niche things start crossing over into like mainstream, then it becomes something different. And because I'd never seen it before, it piqued my interest, because I'll be honest, even before then, I don't think that I even knew about trans men until like 2008, 2009 is when I first encountered like trans men and knowing about their existence and things like that. So for it to go from that being so long ago to now, it's even like they're talked about more. But the thing that intrigued me the most about it was that my reintroduction to trans men came through porn. So I paid attention to it a little bit more, and then I noticed that the language surrounding it became very like icky. Very icky.
For the lack of better words.
Yes, very, very icky. So, to pop off this conversation, I want to ask you, what would be your definition of a fetish?
That's a very vague question.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It's very broad. Everybody.
Because it's like, for me, when it comes to fetish, it's things that you're into. It's a kink. It's something desirable, something that you love doing. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's on a sexual level for gratification, your desires, what gets you off. I don't think that trans people are a fetish. Actually, I don't think. I know. That was confirmation. But yeah, like trans people, I don't care if it's men or women, we're not fetish.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Sexual acts, whipping somebody, biting somebody. Those are sexy ass fetishes,
yes,
right?
They are.
Hell, somebody might want to piss on somebody, but that's a different topic.
Yeah.
We'll go somewhere.
Yeah.
But people are not fetishes. They're not property unless consented. So when it comes to trans folks, I don't think that that's something that should ever be fetishized. And some people will combat about it, like, oh no, but some trans people like to be a fetish.
Right.
They consented to it.
Yeah. That's for those people.
That's not the mass.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You can't speak for everybody. Not everybody wants to be fetishized.
Right.
And I wouldn't want to, me personally, I am not a fetish, and I wouldn't want to be fetishized by anybody.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Outside of the sexual realm that is consented between me and that person or parties.
Right. With that being said, so can you tell me about a time that you experienced being fetishized by somebody else? And like, how did it even come about? Like, when did you notice what was going on, and like, how did you react to it? Like, how did that happen for you?
I could go through a Rolodex of places and events. But one of the biggest places that I've seen a lot of fetishization happen, obviously, is like the apps.
Okay.
That's a big place. Of course, you're going on there to get your rocks off. If people go on there and talk about they're looking for a relationship, please stop. You're not gonna find it there. I promise you. But I get it. On the apps, you're looking to get your rocks off. You want to meet up. You want to cruise. You want to do whatever. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is, you have to think to yourself, if you're having a conversation with somebody and you saying hey, and your hey is sending me dick pics or asking, let me see your pussy.
Yikes.
Would you walk up to that person and ask them, "Hey, let me see your pussy"? I highly doubt that because you probably get knocked the fuck out. Am I allowed to say that on here?
Yes, you are.
Okay,
absolutely.
You'll probably get knocked the fuck out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, people hide behind keyboards and do certain things that they know they wouldn't do in your face, personally. You know what I'm saying? And it's not cool. And that shows how transphobic people really can be.
Yo.
You know, for me personally, I've seen it a lot on the apps, sending me ashy ass and dick pics, and that does nothing for me. Asking me about pussy, not even knowing the education behind people of trans experience, or even just the sensitivity around it, the safety around it, is the biggest thing.
Right.
There's not a lot of safe spaces for people of trans experience.
Period.
So if you're, especially as black and brown men, we're already not safe. So if you're creating an unsafe environment for a man of trans experience, kick rocks.
Yep.
Simple.
Deuces. You know, when you encounter people that give off this fetishy energy, like how do you, what are some of the things that you notice? Like you said you experienced it a lot on the apps, but say somebody's trying to talk to you in person or something like that, are there things that you can kind of point out to differentiate between someone that's actually interested in you in opposition to somebody that's like, oh, I know JT is a trans man and I'm trying to smash?
Yeah. Honestly, I delve a lot into what people say, actions versus not aligning with the words.
Yeah.
But when it comes to words, if you say things like, "Oh, I've always wanted to do a," we're not a Yorkie you can buy from the store. That's one. Oh, I always wanted to date a trans man. Oh, I always wanted to know what it feels like to. That experience might be cool for another guy, you know what I'm saying, that is okay. Like I said, that's okay with being fetishized. But for me personally, I can't speak for a whole community, but I can speak for myself, and I can say that no, that personally doesn't fly with me. Especially knowing that a lot of people don't really do like teach themselves. They expect the person that they're dealing with to teach them, but you also want to date me. You know what I'm saying? Like, if someone is really an ally, or what's this word that they like to say that I hate so much? Oh, trans attracted. And I'll get into why I hate that trans attracted word, because I despise it. But anyway, these trans attracted people will say, "Oh, I'm trans attracted," but expect you to want to teach them. Me being a trans person, I don't walk around all the time and, "Hey, I'm trans," and walk around with a flag. And that's okay if there are people out there that do that.
Right.
I'm okay with people knowing, but I'm also don't walk around. I don't go to work and be like, "Hey, how you doing? My name is trans." I don't do that.
Listen.
And in the real world, for me, that's just not how I conduct myself. So if you're not sitting here and actually wanting to be an ally first before getting in somebody's drawers, consider yourself a fetishizer. It's safe to say that, because if you really want something, what do? You learn about it. You're determined to protect that, to make it sacred, to do certain things. And I'm not saying it in a relationship sense, like you're in love and want to marry somebody. But if you want to know about that community, then truly be a part of that community and advocate for us. Where's the advocation at when we getting shot up in these streets? When we getting stabbed up? We just lost Sam Nordquist.
Yeah, that
I didn't see too much on my social media with people standing up too much.
And that was wild. That was really wild.
You know what I'm saying? So we already know that men as a whole, when it comes to society, that we go very quiet when it comes to our pain. Okay?
Yeah.
And I love my trans sisters down, and I always will fight for them. And we know that they have been in the forefront for a lot of our things, but let's not forget about us and the brothers, because we are very important and integral too. There's a lot of people in the political world, the advocacy world, that does a lot for our community. You know, so we're out there with y'all, but we also need people to back us up too.
Trans men as sexual objects. Where did that shit even come from? Because like I said, for me, it was like, all of a sudden it was all I saw. And it was bugging me out, and I was like, how did we get here? Because at one point, it wasn't something that I ever seen before.
Right.
You know, and then all of a sudden, everybody wants to do it, and now it's become one of these fucking social media posts that y'all want to bring up all the time. Would you ever date a trans man? Have you ever? Da-da-da-da-da. And I'm just like, yo, this is... this shit is crazy. Where did this shit come from?
It's so redundant. It's tiring. I will say that. Like, when you said it, I'm just like, oh. I loathe seeing posts like that, because it goes back to what I'm saying. Like, we're not a Yorkie or a pair of sneakers that you go and get. Be like, oh, I want a trans man. Oh, I want to. And I'm just like, bro, like, my thing is, when you date somebody, you're not dating them and you talking to their genitals, right? You're not coming up and saying, hey, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, you talking to them.
Right.
You're recognizing their face, you're recognizing, even if it's their physical, their voice, whatever it is, or even their intellect. So I want that same respect for our community. You know what I'm saying? Women and men alike. But on the same token, there are some men within our community that condone the shit. And that's just reality. We're going to have to call that out too, because quiet is kept. I'm not even gonna say quiet is kept. Loud is kept. There's a lot of internalized transphobia and internalized homophobia.
Talk about it
within our communities.
Talk about it.
You know what I'm saying? So if we're gonna call it out as a whole, we can't just call out other people because they cisgender or they going with heteronormative ways or fetishizing ways. We gotta talk about within our community too, how we treat each other.
Because I noticed that there are trans men that have started to capitalize off of the fetishization by doing OnlyFans and stuff like that. What part do you think that plays in perpetuating this ideology behind fetishizing trans men? Like,
okay, so for one, I'm pro sex work. If that's your thing,
get your money.
Get your money, baby.
Get your coins.
Get your coin.
Get it up.
But at the same time, I just pray and hope that my men out there are just being safe. Because not everybody has the best interest at heart for you. When you are making these scenes, vet your people that you are doing these scenes with.
Yes.
Especially when it comes to, and I hate to say it, black cisgender men. Please vet who you are doing these sexual scenes with. There has been a few times that I have came across interviews or came across posts where cisgender guys is beefing with this trans guy because the trans guy feel a way that they ain't get paid, or they got shorted, or they were being too rough in the scene, or they was doing this. And it's like, you're never gonna know a person wholeheartedly.
Very true.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm pretty sure the sex industry is not an easy walk in the park either.
Maybe.
Are you sure that this person that you're dealing with, especially if you don't know them from a hole in the wall and it's just a business negotiation, how do you protect yourself in knowing that that's gonna go right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you're not dealing with somebody that's just fetishizing you and want to slut you out. And now they just dump you to the side like a pair of them Nikes that I was talking about. Now he done used and abused you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, we have to be a little more careful than other folks around us.
Okay.
All I ask is that people be safe with that. And I'm not saying everything that I'm saying is gold, and somebody's going to disagree with me, and I'm cool with that too. I'm cool to having open and honest conversation with people, but we got to start having these real conversations about how men of trans experience do get treated.
Right.
And if we don't have these conversations, then it's going to keep going silent. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be white noise, and then everyone's going to have this resentment about, we're not being talked about, we're not being thought about. We shouldn't be talked or thought about when we're dead.
So let's talk a little bit about some of the psychological impacts that you can suffer from being fetishized in the way that trans men are being fetishized today?
I want to say the first thing I felt was I couldn't trust people.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I became very hyper vigilant.
Okay.
Super cautious. Like, you can trust somebody wholeheartedly with yourself and then find out that there's a different way. You can talk to somebody and then as soon as they get mad, now they want to dead name you or they want to misgender you, and then you're like, there it goes.
Right.
And I don't want to be one of those people that's waiting for the other shoe to drop. You get what I'm saying?
I dig that.
Like, no one should have to live hyper vigilant or always on their toes. Like, okay, I'm waiting for the shoe to drop because A, B, and C. And then there's some people out there who's confident, be like, I ain't never had them problems, and that's great for you. You know what I'm saying? So it's very hard because it's so layered. You know what I'm saying? Where every experience is different, and I can't say that everybody is a fetishizer. I can't. You know what I'm saying? There are some very beautiful people out there who don't fetishize and are truly allies, but you will really know that, like I said, with the knowledge that they have obtained and just how they conduct themselves. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to keep bringing up, oh, so what you got in your pants? Oh, you got this in your pants. How big is it? Oh, you got this. Does it still get wet?
Sure.
You know, what was your name before? How did you, you know what I'm saying? Like, and there's also not being ignorant maliciously. Being ignorant is not a bad thing.
Talk about that.
Being ignorant means not knowing.
There you go.
But maliciously ignorant is you just choose to be ignorant because you stuck in a bias that you want to do, that you just want to be. You don't want to see that person because that's how you feel.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You're purposely misgendering that person, or today you're gonna, oh, you're he. But as soon as we get into an argument, oh, fuck that bitch, she, and you know what I'm saying? And you want to show your true colors because that just shows who you really are deep down. You know what I'm saying?
People like that really piss me off because you can't walk into a situation having a desire for someone, regardless of what community they're a part of, and then decide when you get angry or things are not going your way that you're just going to throw them under the bus and you're going to be nasty and ignorant to them and all that other bullshit. Like, I think that's really fucking dumb. Yeah. And something that I notice a lot when it comes down to men that are interested in trans men, there are very few men, cis men, that I've seen that are genuinely interested in trans brothers. You know what I mean? And something that I find very interesting, especially when it comes to the trans community as a whole. Like, we're talking about trans men today, but when it comes to trans men and trans women also, I think at the crux of everything, it's really about the fantasy of being with someone different. You know what I mean? And I often wonder if some of these cis men are going around fetishizing trans men with the hopes of fulfilling a fantasy of, oh, I can finally have pussy but still be with a man.
What's that shit they like to say? A best of both worlds.
But listen, and it sounds like it makes my skin crawl.
That was one. And then the second one, I saw this post and someone had wrote, why isn't it okay for cisgender men to have a preference on what they like with a trans man in regards to their genitalia, whether it's post-op or pre-op? So post-op, post-operative, you have a penis, or you had surgery on your genitalia. We're not going into all that. And pre-op is what you basically were born with, right? Mm-hmm. So the men on there, a lot of the cisgender men, because they was like, yeah, nobody's talking in this group, and it's always the trans men wanting the trans men, but they don't want the cis men. And it was like seeing the misalignment because you guys made an unsafe space. That's one.
Right.
Secondly, you just exercise cis male privilege.
Period.
Because no one's entitled to talk to you because you're a man.
Woo!
just because somebody is attracted to a man, if a trans guy is attracted to a man, whether they gay, bi, pansexual,
right,
they're not entitled to talk to you just because you in the group
child.
and want to throw you some or want to whatever. You're not entitled to that. And then you try to bring up a post about the preference.
Right.
Do you have a preference when you go on a date with a cisgender guy? You going out on a regular date and I know he got a dick, so I ain't. Oh, what's your name? Where you work at? Da 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 da. But then when you meeting with a guy, do you have a dick or a pussy?
It's just like why?
Then you want to scream that you a ally. You want to scream that you an ally, and then get mad when that motherfucker say, "Nah, I'm good. I'm cool on you. I'm a bounce." Well, fuck you. You ain't nothing but a bitch anyway. That's why you still got a pussy.
Just acting like niggas.
Oh, that's why you got... You fragile as fuck, bro. You need to go see a therapist. That's what you need to go do.
That shit right there, that just made me even more mad. Because essentially what you're doing now is now you're disrespecting trans men because that's how y'all be treating women. And trans men are not... Yo, listen, the transphobia has to stop.
It's the privilege behind it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you specifically talking about men of trans experience, but I'm pretty sure a lot of women out there go through the same shit.
They do. Women
they
say
go through
all
the
the
same
time.
shit. You see them as a woman, but then you like, oh, you got your lady stick still? I want you to use it on me.
And here's another.
But then want to talk about I'm chivalrous and I open the door. Well, you should give me some pussy. It's the privilege behind the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all got to keep that shit in check and be aware.
Really
like I need to get into some therapy.
Stop assuming that all trans men are bottoms. Please, because that's really where it is at the foundation of it. Y'all want to fuck on something. It's that assumption. Again, it goes right back to that. You want this fantasy. You want to like objectify trans men because you want them to be your fuck toy, and that's just not what it is. Trans men are people at the end of that, and I just.
To be honest, if you take the trans out of it, people are people.
That part.
Because how you treating a trans person, you just treat people like you just ain't shit. You just ain't shit nigga. You just ain't shit bitch. Because it ain't just niggas that do it. It's women out there that do that shit too. Some of y'all are some ain't shit bitches, and people like don't use the word bitch. No, the people know who the bitches are. The bitches are the ones that purposely, like I said, that maliciously ignorant shit and do the shit purposely when they don't get their way.
So let's talk about, because you brought something up that I hadn't even thought about it, because Sweet Talk is very black spirit game over here. But have you experienced being fetishized by women? And okay. What is the energy different when it comes to like dealing with cis women in opposition to cis men?
Okay, so I'm a pansexual man of trans experience. I've had a lot of experience in my years, but for the last, it's been a while. So I want to say for the last 10, 11 years of my life, I had dated predominantly men.
Okay.
Cis and trans alike. And it's not because it was like, hey, I'm gay now. It was more so of, a lot of women don't want to deal with a man, and I'm taking trans out of it. A lot of women don't want to deal with a man that is honest. A lot of people will say they want honesty, but then when they get the honesty, they don't know how to deal with it. So if a man is honest with you and say, hey, I'm bisexual, or hey, I'm pansexual, or yes, I've had experiences with men, but that wasn't my thing, then all of a sudden they get scared and, oh, well, if he likes men, does that mean he's gonna fuck and cheat on me and do and go to therapy and deal with that insecurity? Please. Because they ain't got nothing to do with that man. That got all the shit to do with you.
Get on the lady couch immediately.
That person has not shown any kind of negativity. You're self-sabotaging yourself out of probably a good relationship, dick appointment, whatever the fuck it is. And now your ass is going to be with a wet pussy playing with that rose.
That's it.
Or you're going to be single because You didn't want to deal with that man just because he dealt with a nigga. But I noticed more so with like cisgender women because I had predominantly dated cisgender women growing up in my early years.
Okay.
I didn't start dating men like exclusively till about 2013, 2014-ish.
Okay.
So before that, like, you know, I was young. I was dealing with cis women most of the time. And what I notice is, like I said, the societal impact. They want a macho man, or they want somebody. They want them to check all these boxes, but they also are scared what society is going to say. You know what I'm saying? That self-sabotaging that I talked about.
And this is the system we're talking about.
Right, yes.
Okay.
So it's okay, because think about it. It's okay for that we see that they put on TV and women having sex with women and niggas be like, oh, that's sexy, that's right. But then when two men are engaging, then it's, oh, that's disgusting. It's still same sex. Sex.
It's just sex.
It's same sex.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like, but because it's feminine and it's like, oh, it's sexy, but if it's masculine, it's like, oh no. Yeah. So if your man checked off all your boxes and you deeply in love and he said, babe, yeah, I had an experience in college. I did have sex with a guy. I enjoyed it, but I don't see myself being in a relationship with a guy. Now you tell your best friend or one of your girls and she like, oh girl, you what? Oh, he DL, he gonna fuck somebody else. You sure he ain't got HIV? We ain't gonna go into that. That's a whole different subject.
Ooh, my eyes start twitching!
But these are the real conversations, and we could go and scroll on Instagram and see a whole lot of that shit right now, right? So these are the conversations, the hurtful conversations on why certain things happen. I'm not saying I can't go out there and find a woman that is very open to that stuff and open to who I am as a person, and be okay with it. But I just haven't came across one. I'm not actively looking like, oh, I need to find me a woman so and so. It's just been predominantly dudes that happen to come across it.
Yeah. Now, have you experienced any like fetishy energy when it comes to dating trans women? I'm trying to open up another box. God damn it. And we sip.
So I gotta be careful on how I word and say things, because I can be a very blunt person sometimes, but that internalized transphobia sometimes goes crazy. And I'm not saying, there are some beautiful minded women of trans experience that I have met, either through advocacy, either through just having conversation as platonic friends, even intimate level. But women hold a lot of hurt in general. A lot of women can't trust men in general. And it's always a kind of like a get you before you get me type of situation. And sometimes us men of trans experience can be in the crosshairs of that as well, because let's just take trans out of it. With women, with men, is that trust is not aligning with each other because of decades and centuries of bullshit that done happened with especially black people. So it's really hard for me to really speak on like the women in trans experience, because it's like, I love them to death, but I want a lot of them to love themselves a lot more too. Just like my trans men out there, I need y'all to love yourself a lot more too, because if you open your eyes and love yourself a lot more, you wouldn't deal with a lot of the bullshit and hurt and pain that these motherfuckers put us through.
Well, what don't you like about the term trans attracted?
You know I hate that word so much. To me, saying I'm trans attracted is basically saying I fetishize with a pretty bow on a fucking box to me. I hate it. Because why do you have to specify that you trans attracted? But then at the same token be like, they a man or woman to me. You don't have to specify that they fucking trans to love somebody or to be with somebody or to want to fuck somebody. I'm sorry, like, you specifying that they're trans to other people and saying I'm trans attracted for what? That's your fucking business. Because if it's your friend and you like, oh, I'm trans attracted, okay, cool, that's your best friend you talking to, right?
Mm.
But if you got to get on social media, if you got to write notes, if you got to put it on your Facebook blogs, if you got to put it on Instagram, if you got to take pictures with the motherfucker, I'm trans attracted, bitch, you're a fetishizer.
Period. Point blank.
If you so trans attracted, be attracted to these political laws that are erasing or trying, because they will never erase us.
Listen, it ain't gonna happen.
They can never erase us.
Not gonna happen.
We've been here for fucking centuries, eons. Okay.
Hello.
Two-spirited people
You
have
bitches
been
knew.
here in Native American history.
Y'all knew.
Eons.
Not them. Hello.
Either which way.
That's it.
If you're so trans attracted, attract your ass to some pen and paper and fight for us.
What I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, and it feels crazy even saying this because people have said this so many times and I don't understand why it just doesn't click for people. I do, but you know, logic be kicking y'all ass sometimes, so here we are. So what I'm hearing is like, if you're attracted to a person that just happens to be trans, then just say that you're attracted to that person because they're a person.
You know what? We overcomplicate things so much when it could just be simple.
Say it.
Just be simple.
Again.
Just be simple.
I'm so glad that you came on and had this conversation with me today because I am. Listen, y'all know I call myself the gay go-to, number one, because homo all the way, baby. And I love my community from the L to the plus sign and beyond. And I just really feel that we all deserve to have our voices heard. And more often than not, especially with my trans brothers and sisters, voices are not heard. Y'all always trying to suppress them, and I don't like that shit. Because at the end of the day, we all in this shit together. Yep. Our origin stories are very similar. The journeys in the past might be different, but we all started under the same oppressive thumb of this society that has told us that we were wrong. No matter where you started, no matter who you are, no matter what part of the acronym you align with, we all started under the same oppression. That's right. So to try to differentiate or be better than, or again, higher on the food chain of shit is dumb to me. The shit is wild. And this conversation was so important to me because, again, like, it just kind of smacked me in the face. And seeing it go on and on and on and on and watching people navigate their way around it, it bothered me. Because I can't front that me seeing it, because, again, I was introduced to it through pornography. So it was hot.
And that's, right. And that's the other thing, like, I want to say really quickly, like, I hate how, like, it's a love-hate relationship with porn. We love porn because we want to get off, right?
That's it.
But also, I hate porn because of the unrealism that it presents. And when it comes to trans people, please don't think that this is what you see in that scene ain't what you really gonna get. It's just with any kind of porn. Let's just take trans out of it. With any kind of porn, it is a scripted scene that might be 20 minutes and they done spent 2, 3, 4, 5 hours trying to get different angles. They tired, they had to get it up again, they had to fluff, they had to do all sorts of shit, some coke, whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to be real about that. And your expectation should be what makes you happy in the bedroom.
That's it. With
that person, and that's between y'all or people. That is between you and whoever is in your fucking bedroom that you done consented with.
Well, listen, brother, thank you so much for coming today. I love you so much. So much. You know, I love you to Del Reese's Pieces. That's my baby. Listen, that's our time today. If JT wants to be found, I will put his information in the information box below. Y'all know how we get down. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, make sure you hit me up at askdgms@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow me on all the socials. Y'all know where that shit is at. It's down in the box. You follow me, like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you jump in and have this conversation with us as the post is posted. Listen, in these conversations, the possibilities are endless, but the focus should always be intentional. I love y'all. Peace out.
Later.
Bye.